Here's a little bit of a tough problem. It's a tough percent problem, translating words into equations, whatever you want to call it, but it is very representative of what you might see on the SAT. In the past couple of SATs they've given out, I've seen problems very similar to this. So here we go. I'm going to do a quick little technical explanation, or really a high level, more complex explanation first, and then I'll break it down and really go at it step by step. So if I have my original price of television as X dollars and there's a discount of 20%, that tells me that I'm only paying 80% of the value, because if I'm taking 20% off, that means that 80% is left. So 80% of the television will be 0.8x. Now that's my price of the television at that point. And then from that point, I pay a tax. A tax is something that I tack onto the price. So if the tax is 7%, I have to do 1.07 times the price of the television, which at this point is 0.8x, plus my $60 flat fee of delivery. So if I do 1.07 times 0.8, it gives me 0.856 x plus 60. So that would be my final answer. So if you understand why I'm doing 0.8x over here, because that just represents 80% of the value, and then this is my 80% of the value of the television. If I add on tax, I have to do 1.07 since the tax is 7%, and then I multiply this to get 0.856x plus 60. If you understand this explanation, great. I'm going to do a little bit differently now. A little bit differently, and I'll show you how we get to the same answer, but a little bit more broken down. Remember from one of our first strategies, it was if there's variables in the question, variables in the answer, make up numbers. So that's exactly what I'm going to do over here. I'm going to pretend as if to start off, my price of the television is $100. Now, if it's $100 and I'm getting 20% off, I have to ask myself, what will the price of the television be if I get 20% off? So if the price of the television is 100 and I'm getting 20% off, 20% of 100 is 20, and that would imply that I'm getting $20 off, which would make my price $80 of the television. Now, if the price is $80, this is after the discount price, I have to pay a 7% tax. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to calculate 7% off 80. 7% is 0.07, and then I'm going to multiply that by 80, and that should give me 5.6. Now, this tells me what my tax will be. So if my after discount price of television is $80 and my tax is $5.60, I'm just going to add these two together to give me the total price after tax, which will be $85.60. And remember, I still have a $60 flat delivery fee that they're also charging me. So if I do 60 plus 85.6, that'll give me $145.60 as my final price of the television. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to erase all of this, so I have a little more room. Let me reiterate exactly what we've done so far. We made the price of television $100. Then we took 20% off. Once we take 20% off, that gives me the price of $80. From $80, I have to pay a tax of 7%. So 7% of 80 is $5.60. And then I take my $85.60, which is the discounted price, plus the tax, and I add $60, which is my delivery fee, for my total price of the television to be $145.60. Now I'm going to go through all my answer choices. I'm going to plug the 100 back, since that's my value of X, and see where I get 145.6. So A is saying 0.207X plus 60. So 0.207 times 100 plus 60. So 100 times 0.207 is 20.7, and 20.7 plus 60 is 80.7. So that does not, I can eliminate A for that reason. If I go to B, that'll be 0.214x plus 60. So 0.214 times 100 is 21.4, plus 60 will give me 81.4, so I can eliminate that. Then I hop over to C. C is 0.4x plus 60. 0.4 times 100 is 40. 40 plus 60 is 100, which again is not my price. So most likely my answer is D. Let's check it out. 0.856x plus 60. 0.856 times 100 is 85.6 plus 60, and that kind of is looking very similar to this. So if I add that, that does give me 145.60, making my answer D. So if you didn't understand the technical explanation or the proper way of doing this that I showed originally, look at how we can kind of beat this problem by making up numbers. So I made x 100, I solved for my final answer, then I plugged my original x back into all my answer choices and see where my answers matched up. So there's multiple ways of doing this problem. Figure out what works best for you, but don't quit on the problem. And make sure you watch this video again if you want to understand exactly what's happening, because most likely you are going to see a problem very similar to this on the test.